All right, today I'm very excited about our conversation. I'm Kat. I am with Rebloom Room, where we help Black and Brown women find more joy in their lives through holistic healing, holistic self-care, international travel, and retreats. And today I'm very excited to be speaking with Mar of ICU Wellness, Brooklyn based, but on the internet everywhere. I've worked with Mar for some time now, and I'm so excited to have a conversation with you, Mar.
Thank you so much, Kat. Really pleased to be here with you on this beautiful day.
Yeah. So, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name is Mar, and I am a healing artist. I do all things healing based here in Brooklyn. I founded ICU Wellness and ICU Sanctuary, which is a virtual space for women of color, particularly, to come and heal and just be, train our nervous systems, connect to ancestral practices. And I've been doing this for almost, we'll say almost going to 5 years now, since 2017 here in Brooklyn. And I'm originally from Morocco. So I'm
Mhm.
an immigrant. I've been here in this country for, I don't know, 17 years.
Oh,
So
wow.
pretty much half immigrant, half American at this point. But yeah, so that's what I do. I do healing work for us, by us,
Hmm.
for our liberation.
Yeah. So, I have a quote here from you. It says, "In order to be me, I had to first let go of who I thought I was over and over again."
Mhm.
Um, can you tell us what do you mean by that?
It's my experience. That quote came truly from my experience of how many lives I've had already. And I'm only 35 years old, but I've had so many different lives and careers and different things. And in that journey, I realized that the most consistent thing is letting go of identities, letting go of putting myself in boxes, and just being fluid, just being me, being in the moment. Because every time I find myself um, in a box or in a particular tight place as far as identity or who I thought I was, and what society projects onto me, what they think they need me to be, I felt trapped. And so my journey has been to find that fluidity over and over and over again, because that's where I feel most myself. And I'm, as you know, I'm all things water. So it's in my nature to be that fluid being that is
Yeah.
neither here or there, just flowing with life. It feels very grounded for me. I'm sure that's not everyone's experience, but the more I release the identities, the more I release who I think I am, the more I find who I really am, and the more I ground myself into, I'm just here being.
Mhm.
And that's enough. Doesn't need any identity, doesn't need any box, doesn't need any explanation.
Yeah, I think a lot of times it's easier for people to interact with us if they know what box we fit in, how they can categorize us. Um, yeah, it's some of it is us doing it to ourselves, and some of it is people doing it to us, and it does feel like it gets really boxy and
It does, it does. And it's interesting because here in the US, people are very into identities and labels. And when you meet somebody, it's like, what do you do? What do you this? What's your orientation? What's your pronouns? What's your this? And it's just like, can we just talk, and like you can get to know me through
Mm,
experience, as opposed to placing these boxes in your head so you can put me in there.
mm,
Can you just experience me as a being, as a human being, as a spiritual being, as energy? Can you experience that? And then, instead of putting these labels are really human made
mm,
and don't will never fully describe who we are. So that's kind of how I feel about it. No matter how much I try to tell you who I am, it's not possible to contain that. So can we just exist? Can we just be? Can we just flow? And and you can have your own experience of me. Everyone can have their own experience because I'm always changing.
Mm,
Like
yeah.
the moon, it's like constantly shifting and changing. I'm like, I don't know what you're gonna get today.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think a lot of people aren't used to that. They're not used to encountering someone who is like, "Well, I am this today, but I may be something else, like a little bit, not like static." So I think it's
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And people like to put people in the static place,
yeah.
because it makes them feel safer and they know who they're talking to or how they need to address them and all of that.
Mhm.
It's just for me, it feels very limiting and it feels very constricting. So yeah.
Yeah. Um, can you talk about how, so when you first started your business, IC Wellness, is it Wellness? IC Wellness. Um,
Honest, yeah.
I um, I know that you were in person, and then something happened, and you went online. How did that come about?
Yeah, so I see wellness. First it started. I wasn't planning on doing this work at all. I was in advertising, creative director before, and I had to leave that box and that world for that's a whole other story. But once I left, I just felt this calling to explore something else, and it was just like a pull. So I just followed it. I didn't know where it was going to end up being, and end up being healing work and working with women and working with herbs and plants and ancestral healing and that kind of stuff. And so first I started by creating a physical space in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg at that time. And I just wanted to create space for us to come and heal and talk and just have a space for us, because in my healing journey I didn't find those spaces. Of course there were spaces, but
Mhm.
I felt like I stood out and I was placed in a box because it's like, oh, that's that woman, that's, she looks different than us, or she, whatever it is. So I wanted a space, a sacred space where I can just be, and for other people to just be and heal together. And so I created that space in person, and it was strictly in person because as per my guidance, it was like, we need to cultivate community in person only.
Mhm.
And I did that for like 3 years. And then 2019, I started like, this is early 2019, I started feeling like I need to create this space digitally for people who are not in New York, who are not in Brooklyn, or who can't come all the way to my space. My studio space can hold maybe 15 people. So I thought maybe virtually this can reach more people. So I had that idea, I had that plan. It was already there. And I had so much resistance to it. And I
Mhm.
just kind of put it to the side. And then the early 2020 came, and there was some issues happening with my studio, like plumbing issues, and there were contractors coming and fixing it, and it just would not go away.
Mhm.
It lasted like 3 weeks. I had to shut down the studio. This was like January 2020. And after kicking and screaming, it just hit me and realized like that's it. This is now the time to transition.
Mhm.
Like, that's my cue. So I went ahead and closed the studio, opened ICU Sanctuary. This was February 2020, like early February. And I'm like, okay, we're doing this virtual thing now. So until further notice, I'm having these issues with the studio. And then a month later, COVID happened. And I was like, wow, my guides have been trying to tell me to
That's crazy.
prepare for
It's
this for
crazy.
a year. And I wasn't listening until I caved in. So that's how ICU Sanctuary came about. And it was just perfect, divine timing. I was one of the first ones to open the sanctuary digitally. And then later, the following year, I started the memberships, and that's where we are now. But I'm in a place right now where I want to open the studio in person back again, so
That, yeah.
we'll see when that happens. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
That
think
was, I mean, it was, I mean, you're in New York, and that was such a painful, scary time. Um, and I'm on the East Coast also, and it was not, it was stressful and fearful and just a really dark time. And I'm not sure how I found you, but I found the sanctuary and I just jumped in, and I feel like I did so much work there. I don't even know how to explain what happened really, because like my relationship to time, like I probably a lot, so many of us are, where our relationship to time, like I don't know what month it is, I don't know what day it is, I don't know Friday or Wednesday, I don't know. Like time was so weird.
Yeah.
Um, but I had, the sanctuary was there, and we just continued to meet, over these months and weeks and days. I don't know. Can you talk about what were we doing in there? It seems
What were
like
we doing? That's a great question. you know, when I left my previous career in 2017, I felt like I was on a mission. So I joke and I say I've been quarantining since 2017, because I was like, this world is on pause. I need to cultivate what I have here. I need to cultivate my own sanctuary, my own space. This is just for me personally, and then of course for others. And when 2020 hit, I felt so prepared to
mm,
step up
mm,
for everyone who was freaking out, because I wasn't freaking out. My lifestyle has not changed. I was
mm,
already like at home most of the time in my garden, minding my business. And
mm,
so it felt so right. Like, oh, this is what I've been training for.
mm,
So now I can step up and hold space for people who feel ungrounded in these times of changes.
mm,
And so that's exactly what I did. I just created spaces and experiences for us to come and ground into ourselves and ground into our being, ground to earth.
mm,
And because that's the most stable thing that we have when the world around us is chaotic, the human world, we still have other, resources and elements that we can ground with and feel secure, and feel safe. And so that's what we did. We learned about energy work, we learned about boundaries, we learned about we did healing experiences where we can just feel good, and tap into something that's bigger than us. Because typically in human history, whenever there is chaos and there's war or there's whatever adversity, that's when humans look into the higher powers for something more stable. And so that was just a perfect opportunity. And many people were looking for something else, right? Looking for something to make them feel less anxious, and finding their spirituality and investing in their healing work. I thought that was a perfect opportunity. I felt like we've been given an amazing opportunity to stay at home, to not have to go to work in person, to really sit with our shit, right? And
yeah.
so if we had to sit with our shit, why not clear it? Why not heal it? Why not transform it? Why not work with it? This wasn't, for me, it was an opportunity, not something that was happening to us. It's happening for us.
Mm,
But I tend to be optimistic, so so yeah, that's, I created spaces and experiences where we can just do that, and rely on each other too. And I believe that community um, was very, very important to create
mm,
community, because a lot of people felt
mm,
isolated, and people from all over the world, are part of the sanctuary, and they didn't have that direct community, or people from their community moved, or whatever the case was. So
mm,
having consistent spaces they can just drop in and
mm,
and and just be,
yeah.
I think was such good medicine for all our nervous systems.
It really was. Oh my gosh. I don't know what I would have done. Like really, it was so important to me to have that space. So you mentioned a phrase, minding your business, and I think that's part of an important part of what you teach is helping people mind their business. Can you talk about that? Because I part of it is that I see people not minding their business, going on social media, for example, and like getting into conversations that are not productive and just that kind of thing. So can you talk about the importance of minding your business?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Minding your business is key, major, major key, for people who want to heal for real and want to grow and want to expand. Um, because everybody has traumas, right? Everybody has things they're dealing with, and we went through a collective trauma. And so, what typically happens is people have these things that this whatever is within them that makes them feel really uncomfortable. And so instead of sitting with it, they just throw it at
Mhm.
whatever next person, whether it's at the grocery store or on social media. It's so much easier, for people to just like spurt out their traumas or like project it onto others or to get angry and blah, 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 than to hold it and work with it and clear it and own it, right?
Yeah.
And so the practice of minding your own business is, the way I see it, is minding what's happening here. Instead of trying to fix the world or tell people what to do or how to do it, it's like, what's going on here? What is coming up for you right now?
Mhm.
And what can you, how, what can you do to work with it, to heal it, support it, whatever it is, that one needs to do. So a lot of people are living outside of their energy field. They're living way outside. They completely abandon their bodies, their nervous systems, their energies. Like, they are living totally outside, especially with social media and digital world, which expanded tremendously since the pandemic started.
Mhm.
People are living as an avatar, and it's like you are abandoning your human self, and this self has needs and has, um has information, has medicine as well. And so the practice of minding your own business for me is to know where I end and where the world starts. Because if I want to be of service to the world, and I look out and I see hate and war, and I'm thinking the world needs peace and joy and love. If I don't have those things in my little bubble, how am I gonna give it or support or provide it to the world? So that's to me what minding my own business is, making sure I am well and I am good and I am dealing with my own trauma so I don't project it onto other people. You
Mhm.
know, they say hurt people, but at some point hurt people have to admit, I'm hurt and I need help and I need, kind of take care of what's here. And so, and I can talk on and on about it, but essentially mind your own business, like what's happening in my world and how can I work with that and not just, hot potato it to the next person who's going to hot potato it to the next person and just trauma bond on social media or whatever. It's like, we have the tools to clear those things, and they are coming up for us, not to torture us, but to be acknowledged and to be healed. At least that's my belief.
Mm. So you talk a lot about sort of our energetic boundaries and where we are, and where other people begin. So this is really important, like this energetic field of our own. Can you talk about like the energy body and energetic boundaries? Energetic boundaries are so important. How do people work with that and maintain and create good boundaries?
Yes, energetic boundaries are important because we're not trained, we're not sensitive enough. I'm talking about we as in majority. Some people are trained and are sensitive enough, but we're not sensitive enough to when other energies come in, or we're not sensitive enough to, is this mine? Is this not mine? Like, we don't think about those things because they're not seen to the physical world. But for sensitive people like myself, I'm highly sensitive. I can sense energy. And so I thought everybody did. Like, I didn't think this was
Mhm.
a thing. Like, I didn't, I thought that was just regular life. But energetic boundaries it's first, it starts by knowing your own energy first, knowing what your natural state, your natural frequency feels like. So it starts by knowing oneself, and if you're not in your body, how are you going to know what it feels like to be in your body? And then once you know who you are and what your energy is, when you interact with other people and something shifts and changes, it's just a matter of being aware of it and then clearing it. It's really simple to clear energy. It's not complicated, but we don't do it. We just keep enmeshing and meshing. So the practice of constantly clearing energy, clearing that what's not yours, what you don't need to take on, what is harmful, questioning when like thoughts come, instead of just believing them and going with them and doing that inner work, really just kind of sitting with yourself and be like, how am I feeling today? Why am I feeling this way? Is this mine? Having this conversation with yourself, with your energy, with your frequency is so helpful in getting to know your true self and not, you know, all those labels that we were talking about. And so once you know that, and it's not that complex, you just get into the habit of energetic hygiene, of just clearing your energy every day. And with that practice, anything that comes at you, you start to strengthen your energy field, so it becomes this like foreign thing. It's like if you're sitting in your home and like, I don't know, an elephant comes in, you're gonna be like, wait, what is this doing here? This is not supposed to be here. Like, I don't know what this is. This isn't mine. Instead of being like, oh no, this elephant is here, now I have to find a place to put this elephant. And that's what usually people do, is energies come in and they just take him on as their own. And so knowing where we end and where the world starts is very, very important, because the collective is a mess right now, especially on social media. There's always bad news, all these things happening. But if we merge with everyone else, then we lose ourselves and we lose our joy, we lose beauty, we lose peace. And those are the energies that are really needed in the world. So if we can each claim ourselves, claim our energy, work on our individual energy, I think the world will be in a better place.
Yeah, there's this sort of tendency in this sort of self-help industry to get people to feel like they're broken or they need, they need to be fixed. But I know that that's not your philosophy at all. Can you talk about that?
Well, I used to work in advertising, so I know how this works. So I'm very sensitive to the language and the techniques, the marketing, advertising techniques. And just historically, how it works is that they make you believe that something is wrong with you and that you need this thing in order to fix that thing that is wrong with you. And so that's just basic 101. So if you believe that you're broken in your core, then you're probably going to be a better consumer and you're going to buy more, I don't know, wellness products, or buy more, whatever it is that you need to fix yourself. And so I think moving from that as a foundation is a very shaky foundation. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere, because if the inherent belief is that you're broken, then no matter what amount of things that you do, the inherent belief is that you're broken. So for me, instead of giving sessions or whatever based on that belief, I try to tackle that belief first. Like, first, you're not broken. Like, let's build a clean foundation. There's nothing wrong with you. What if we see ourselves as healed, completely healed, and start there? What if we see ourselves as we are good, we are divine, and move from there? Then the healing becomes easy. It becomes this thing that happens naturally when you're called to do it. When something happens, it becomes in the moment and not something that you constantly seek because you believe you're broken. So do I believe we all have traumas? Absolutely. Does that mean we're broken? No. I don't think I think the systems we live in are completely broken, but they also make a shit ton of money from us believing that something is wrong with us. It's just how it works. So I try to tackle that first by helping people realize like there's nothing wrong with me. I'm kind of normal, you know, like this is normal. It's normal to ebb and flow. It's normal to have good days and bad days. It's normal to have traumas and to have things that you want to heal from your ancestry or from your parents' experiences. This is the human experience. There's nothing broken about it. It just is what it is.
Mm.
And so that's how I see it.
Yeah. So, can you give some examples of practices that you use? And also, sort of what kind of changes do you see in the people that you work with?
Practices, again, energy hygiene, very important. Taking time for oneself to connect with oneself on a daily basis, just to check in, like let's call it dating yourself. You know, it's just to check in, like, hey, how am I doing? How am I feeling today? Just building that relationship with oneself is key. Any type of mindfulness practices are good where we connect to our breath and to our bodies. Um, One of my main most important practices is working with earth. Literally earth and earth energies and nature, like just the natural world that is not human man-made, right? Those are all very important practices on a daily basis, working with the elements, and knowing oneself, knowing like what elements make me feel this way, what element make me feel that way, and having this set of tools to tap into whenever one feels off, you know, because we all feel off on a daily basis. But if we have the tools and we use them consistently, then we're ready. We're not like, we don't go down the rabbit hole and spiral for months. We can just clear it in a day or two, you know? So those are important practices. And what was your second question?
It was what kinds of changes are you seeing when you're working with folks when they, when they come in and when they're
Yeah.
transforming?
The most beautiful changes that I see is people coming into themselves and feeling more grounded into who they are and seeing like their real joy and personality come out.
Mm.
You know, people feeling less anxious, people feeling less depressed, less more supported by their community, by the earth, like just this like presence. I feel like their presence gets bigger and stronger, and it has a unique point of view. Their unique self starts to come out, and that's what the changes that I see with people who've been consistent about their practices. They're just becoming more them, you know, every day. And that's just beautiful because you get to witness somebody who's coming in like feeling anxious at the beginning and like ungrounded and confused and has so many questions, and you know, and then they just kind of relax into just being. And whenever things happen, unexpected things happen, they're no longer thrown off. They're like, okay, this is happening.
Mm.
I don't like what's happening, but it's okay.
Mhm.
And that is, to me, that's really beautiful, because now instead of running away from whatever is they're feeling, they're able to hold space for themselves, most importantly.
Yeah. So I've been watching this series on Apple TV called Dear dot dot dot, and it's talking to like famous people of color. At least it's the ones I've been watching are the people of color. So it's Sandra Oh and Viola Davis, and it's people have written letters to them, talking to them about how what a big influence they've had on their lives, and it's really wonderful. You should probably watch it if you haven't. But I'm just wondering, like, all of the people that you're like touching, have you heard any stories about like people that you've influenced going into their communities and like spreading that, the calm, the beingness? Have you?
Yes, I've definitely heard. Oh, first of all, I haven't worked with thousands of people like those
Right.
ladies, so you
Yeah,
know,
not yet.
not yet, right? And but I've definitely heard many people saying that by them by them doing their work, people naturally start to change around them. And that's like the beautiful thing about minding your business and doing your work, is that you don't actually have to go out of yourself to change somebody.
Mm.
It's your energy, you embodying you is the healing. That's the healing energy. So people around you will naturally start to shift and change to harmonize with your energy. You become like this tuning fork, and I'll show you with an actual tuning fork. Like if this is you and you know the other person here, you're gonna start to harmonize naturally. And
Yeah.
so I don't necessarily believe in going out to like save anybody, you know, but I've heard many, many stories of people saying that I used to feel this way around my family or around my job. And as I started doing this work, my perspective changed and they started to soften as well. They start to open up or be more vulnerable, and they start to get interested because energy is felt. It's like it's a visceral felt experience. So if you see somebody in their power, in their energy, it's magnetic. So people around you are gonna be like, wait, what are you doing? Like, I'm sensing something about you is different. Like, what do you do? Oh, you do meditation. Now you start to like gently pull them into your world, and they become interested in whatever it is that you're doing, instead of you telling them you have to meditate, you have to do this. So that's what I see. It's change. The change that happens from within will inherently and automatically happen from without. The other thing that I've heard also, which does happen a lot, is as we start to do this work and we start to come into ourselves, sometimes people around us are going to disappear. They're gonna vibrate out of our energy, and that happens too.
Absolutely.
So they either adapt or they're out. And you know, I think that's great, because you don't actually have to exert any energy. You don't have to go outside of yourself. You can just do this, and whoever needs to be here around this, great. And whoever doesn't, it's okay too.
Yeah. So how do you take care of yourself? And what does play look like for you?
Yes. Well, I think I am the queen of self-care because I literally designed my life and my work to fit my needs. You know, a lot of times people hear like healers and, you know, they're sacrificing for the world and they're out saving the world. I'm not doing that. There was a point where I thought that's what I wanted to do. And then I realized very quickly, actually, no, like I'm doing this because it comes easily to me. This is a gift that I have that I want to share, and I want to be of service, but I'm not sacrificing myself. So I design my days, my weeks, my months to fit my needs. And my needs are a lot of downtime, a lot of recuperation, and a lot of doing nothing. So doing nothing, just being, is my favorite thing. And what that looks like is just waking up in the morning and checking in. What do I feel like doing today? Of course, if I have something in the schedule, like I'm going to do that. But I have a lot of space to just be and to go with the flow of how my body needs. Sometimes my body needs exercise. Sometimes my body needs rest. For example, I take like 3 or 4 days off when I have my moon cycle every month, period. I'm not doing anything during those days. I'm chilling, I'm resting. I do energy work, of course, that's every day. I go to the sauna a lot, to the spa a lot. I have those like
Love a sauna.
scheduled every 2 weeks. I do acupuncture. I take a lot of baths. So I do a lot of self-care things. I read books, I do embroidery. Like I just create. And then of course I create for my apothecary, and I tend to a garden in spring and summer. And those are also other ways for me to just exist without trying to do too much, because I know what it's like to force to be forced to create and create and create. I'm a creator being, I'm a creative, and that's what I did in my previous career as well. So I know that I can constantly create, but I realize I'm not a machine, and I want to create easily, and I actually want to co-create with the universe, with the energies that are available, and that ebbs and flows. So I allow myself the space to ebb and flow, to chill, to just be. So I definitely have a lot of downtime. That's how I that's
Oh,
how I do
it sounds delicious. It sounds
it.
delicious.
It is delicious. I do feel guilty about it sometimes, so I'm still working through that. Yes, believe it or not. But when I do feel guilty about it, it doesn't mean I get up and try to do something. I just sit with that. I'm like, I wonder where this guilt creeping in from. Why do I feel the need to be active, or what does my body need? So I'm still in conversation with myself, all these other cells that have different needs. And for me, play, honestly, self-care is play for me. I also travel as much as I can. I used to travel a lot more. That's like the ultimate play for me, is getting out of the city and doing things. Also doing things within the city. I like solo dates. Like I'll just go and walk around the city, go to the park, go to the museum. I like to spend a lot of time with myself, to be honest, like taking my inner child to a date, that kind of thing. Like hanging out with my girlfriends and just chilling or going to the spa. What else? I don't play a lot in the winter because, like right now, it's hibernation season, and so all my play is internal with myself. But once spring comes out, I also come alive, and I want to do all kinds of things outdoors. So play changes, and it depends on my mood, honestly.
Mhm. Yeah. So, do you have any fun things coming up or anything with the sanctuary that you're excited about?
Yes, we have Heal and Rise 2022, our signature 6 weeks deep dive, intensive initiation into energy magic. It's coming up starting on May 1st. And I am revamping the whole experience. This is the fourth time that we do it, which is kind of wild. And the focus is on living one's medicine and getting to know one's medicine. So we're going just a step deeper um, into like, what is our medicine? What are we here to do? And how can we naturally allow our medicine to live through us, and all of that. So that's coming up on May 1st. So that's exciting for me.
Yeah, that Heal and Rise is so like it's deep and restful and healing and yeah, it's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah,
yeah,
I know it's very intense, as in there's a lot of information, but also it's easeful, hopefully.
yeah, yeah. Was there anything else that you wanted to add that I should have asked you?
Um, what do I want to add?
Did you get to Morocco? Have you gotten to Morocco?
I have not.
Okay.
Every time I try to go, the borders are closed. The borders are now open, so but the timing isn't right. So hopefully this year definitely, it's I'm trying to make it happen. But all these things happen in divine timing. I feel like I tried to do it like 3 times. Every time I booked it, the borders are closed every single time. So I'm at the point where I just released it. Like, you know what? I'll be there when I'll be there,
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna go with the flow. So I released that pressure from myself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mar. I will link to your website and your socials in the description and the show notes, and so that people can reach out and get in touch with you.
wonderful. Thank you so much, Kat, for having me. This was fun.
Yes. And if you are watching YouTube, please like and subscribe and look for Mar. Thank you.
Thank you, Kat.